AtTheTrack.live. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics, you might be asking? I'm glad you asked. Even if you didn't ask, All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics. After we have covered all of the science topics and conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars. And each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they have learned in the class. Once they have selected their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from, all of the information that they can observe. They document that, put it into a spreadsheet, and then the only thing left to do, set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip and race the cars. The students race their cars, and we have a little tournament, and they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select those cars again, or would they make a different choice based on everything that they have observed? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is go to our website, AAAerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, AA Aerodynamics over there. And all of the information you need to contact me is in the bio, and we can discuss how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents AtTheTrack.live. So what is AtTheTrack.live? Well, before I can bring in all of those cards for the students to use, I have to make sure that I have cataloged properly all of the cars so that I can know which cars the students are using. And when they're done, I can bring them back, put them in the right place, have them ready to go. But that means I have to take a picture of the cars, I have to number the cars, I have to enter the information into a spreadsheet. That was pretty boring work, so I came up with AtTheTrack.live. And every Saturday, I go into storage and grab 6 Hot Wheels cars, bring those out, crack open the packages, get my picture, get my little video, give the cars a number, get them entered into the fleet, and then they are ready to go and available for the students to select. But since we already have the track set up, we might as well test those cars out and have a little mini tournament and see which of the new cars is the fastest. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate because all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live. And when you get there, you're going to have 3 options. You're going to have the YouTube stream link, the Twitch stream link, and then the third and most important link is the link that says choose your car. If you select that link, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics AtTheTrack.live fleet are listed, numbered, cataloged, and ready to be selected. So you can scroll through, take a look at all the cars we have. We have cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, some cars that were just released recently. And once you find the car that you want to select, that you think could be faster than the cars that are introduced, maybe you think it is, scroll through. If I was going to make a selection, what car might I pick? I might go with, still looking, I might settle on maybe this Pikes Peak Celica. So car number 268, the Pikes Peak Celica, I can click on that and take a look, and from the reflection I can kind of tell that this is a metal body on a plastic base. Got that giant splitter, the big side skirts, and the huge wing in the back. Could all of those things factor in to make this the fastest car of the day? I don't know. But those are the kinds of considerations that I might make if I were picking a car, if I were you. But once you have selected your car, all you have to do then is take the number of the car, in this case 268, drop it into the chat. I will pull the car, and you will be entered into the tournament. And we will see if the car that you select is fast enough to become our fastest in fleet car. Our current fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the RD09, and it became our fastest in fleet champion about 2 weeks ago. And it was a bit of a surprise because just based on the car's the back end there. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, there we go. Based on the back end, it made it a kind of unique car to fit into our launcher on our track. And usually we want cars to have a lot of surface area pressed up against the launching block. This car does not have that. It has those two pointed wings on either side, and they kind of just touch the edges of the launching block. And I was thinking that based on everything that we've seen in the past, that would probably create situations where this car doesn't get consistently good launches, but that hasn't been the case the last couple of weeks, and this car has done exceptionally well, and it is the fastest car in our fleet. So if you select a car, and that car can beat out all of the other cars that are introduced today, then you'll have an opportunity to take on and take out the RD09 and become our fastest in fleet car. We will see if that happens today, or if the RD09 continues its hold, keeps a hold of its championship title. And we have a few different cars. We have a couple of cars that viewers have picked earlier in the week that are going to be racing. And again, if you want to pick a car to challenge the RD09, then all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live and find the car that you want. Select choose your car, find the car you want, and we will enter it into today's tournament and see if that car can beat out the RD09. So we have a few different cars that are going to be introduced today, and one of the cars, it's interesting because I didn't bring the box, but there are, usually I'll try to go into storage and pull out cars to enter into the tournament, because what I want to do is get some of those older cars into the fleet, and then, but the problem is I'll go to the store, I'll go down the aisle, see some new Hot Wheels, see some cool Hot Wheels, buy those, and instead of putting those in the back of the storage, I end up just kind of introducing them here anyway, and it prevents me from really getting back into the older cars that are in storage and introducing those. So I've been trying to be a little bit more focused on getting those older cars and getting them into the fleet, and I pulled some out today, but I still have one or two that are a little newer, but hey, it's how it is. As long as they get into the fleet, that's the important part. One of the cars that I picked up was, one of the newer cars, was this this Matchbox, this Volkswagen Beetle, this kind of off-road Volkswagen Beetle. And I picked up another one that came in a little box, and I've mentioned this before, that there's a store here that sells Matchbox cars in an actual box, and the problem is that there's no window to actually see what the car looks like. It's just a box, and you can, it has the artwork on the outside, but you can't see what the car looks like, and I don't think that's a good move. I think people want to see what the car looks like, because the picture on the outside of the box doesn't always kind of translate, and depending on the angle of the car, it's pretty hard to see. And I left it in the other in the storage, but I would show you what I'm talking about. So I will wait to open this until I can bring that box in and see if those cars are exactly the same, and if so, kind of figure out which packaging is better. I absolutely prefer this because I want to see the car. And when you hide the car in a box and just show me the artwork, I'm not getting the full picture of what it is that I'm buying. So I don't know why they do that, but maybe it's just something they're trying out. And it's also harder to look because the cars are kind of stacked up these boxes. So if you want to see what the other cars are, you have to actually remove the boxes. It's like playing Tetris or Jenga or something, and then you have to put them all back. It's a hassle. But they're Matchbox cars, and typically, I don't buy Matchbox cars unless they're really unique and kind of special, because they just don't tend to perform as well on the track. But we do have situations that are exceptions to that rule. And one such exception is this car. This was last week. We introduced this Porsche Targa 911. And this car won last week's tournament and was the fastest car. It didn't beat out the RD09 for the fastest in fleet title, but it did win the tournament. And that is a milestone because that means this is the first Matchbox car to actually win the Saturday tournament. So it is possible. There is hope for Matchbox cars. Most of the time, they just don't hold up against the Hot Wheels cars, and I haven't been able to figure out why that is. But this car, we put it in the wind tunnel on Wednesday. And if you are unaware, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, we have Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, where we take our Hot Wheels cars that are new to the fleet and some that viewers have picked, and we throw those into the Funtech Labs 1/64th scale wind tunnel, otherwise known as the Winsible, and we crank up the wind tunnel and see how the air flows over, under, and around these cars, and get an idea about the aerodynamic profile of each car and how much drag is likely to impact the car when it races on Saturdays. And when we put this car into the wind tunnel, it had an outstanding aerodynamic profile. The air flowed right up over the hood, up to the windshield, across the roof line, and slid right down this back portion here. And it was outstanding. And so we can see why this car performed as well as it did on the track, because it was able to reduce the impact of drag and maintain more of its speed and forward momentum for longer. So this is the Matchbox car that kind of broke the rules for Matchbox cars, because up till this point, Matchbox cars just haven't typically performed as well. So I don't know that we have any Matchbox cars that are going to be introduced today, but I am a little more confident in introducing them into the fleet, because under just the right circumstances, clearly they can compete. So that is a car that raced last week, and if you want to select that car, it is car number 977. There are currently 978 cars in our fleet for you to choose from. So again, if you go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose your car option, then you will have a chance to pick a car and find one that can maybe beat out the RD09 or some of these cars that we're going to introduce today. Hey, Rough Shot, how you doing? We're going to go, first off, this one has been, it was in the bin, and I don't know, it's just been sitting around. And this is what I should be doing, is taking older cars, bringing them in. And not sure when I picked this one up, but it was all dusty. I had to clear it off. This is the Renault Sport RS 01. Now, Car number 933 is the Renault Sport RS. They look kind of similar, but this is specifically the RS-01. And it's a little different than the other one, so it's going in. I don't usually like to have too many duplicates, but this one's going in. So we're going to crack this open. Hey, Virgo. Crack this open and take a look and see what we've got. Now, the RD-09 weighs in at 38.1 grams. So, is that really what it is? Let me double check. Make sure the scale is set at 0. Yeah, 38.1 grams. So it's a little heavier than the cars that have tended to be do well on the track, but it's the champ, so there it goes. This Renault is 32.1 grams. Let's go ahead and take a look at this and switch it up over here. And here it is. Again, it's very similar to car number 933, the Renault Sport RS. I'm not sure exactly what the differences are, and I probably should have pulled that other car to sort of compare them, but this one's going in, and based on just the profile, looking at the back end, it's got that wing stretches across the back. It's flat. It's going to press right up against the launching block. That wing is right up at the roof line. And for the most part, we have seen the cars that have done well on the track have certain things in common. There have been probably more fantasy cars that have been the fastest in fleet cars than cars based on real cars. But we have had fastest in fleet cars that were based on real cars. Most recently, that Mercedes-Benz 500E, I believe. We've had that. And I think what happens is that these cars are, let me see, RS-01. The fantasy cars are able to have angles and designs that real cars just couldn't and wouldn't have, because obviously a real car, the driver probably needs to be able to see out the front windshield. That would probably be helpful. Fantasy cars don't have to worry about that. And so we usually get, with the fantasy cars that do pretty well, it's this transition point here between the hood and the windshield, that angle is really low, and then on the back end we kind of see usually there's not much drop off from the roof line to the back, and that's what we've seen. But that's not always, it's not always the case. Those aren't always the cars that do the best. There are definitely exceptions to the rule, and we are always looking for that next fastest in fleet car. And I just need to get my still picture here of the Renault RS, Renault Sport RS-1. And we are good. And that is the first car that is new to the fleet today. And okay, so let's see. Virgo she wants car 142. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what that is. 142. All right, let's go and see which car that is. All right, 142 is right here. Oh, okay. The red AtTheTrack. We had, I think, the silver or the blue AtTheTrack raced not too long ago. And so, all right, the AtTheTrack. There we go. Oh, 132. Okay. So not the AtTheTrack. We're going to go 132, which is, okay, this Pikes Peak Tacoma. This is interesting because we had well, two things. One, when I was just scrolling through at the beginning, just picking cars at random to explain how the selection process goes, the random car that I picked was the Pikes Peak Celica. This is the Pikes Peak Tacoma, and it reminds me of the what was it called? The Dragnator. I forget the name, but we had there was a truck, a pickup truck that was our fastest in fleet car for a while. So let's see, the Pikes Peak Tacoma, and I will pull that car in a little bit, and we will see if this car, it's got with that giant splitter, can make it happen. So we have the that car we'll pull later, and then I've got Christopher and Roughshod's cars in Draftnator. There you go. Thank you, Roughshod. Yeah, the Draftnator is the car that was the truck that was our fastest in fleet for a while. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Thank you, Christopher. 225. Oh yeah. I've got your Back to the Future time machine. I've already got that pulled because we had it Wednesday, and I've got Roughshod CCM Country Club muscle car that is also pulled and ready to go. And we're going to introduce a few more cars. All right, next up is go with this one. This is an older car. I think I picked this one up at a Hot Wheels swap meet, and it is this one. It is the 69 Corvette ZL-1, and just based on the packaging, I can tell this is an early kind of 2000s-ish car. But I do need to double check just to make sure that I don't already have one in the fleet. Don't want to have duplicates, but I already know that Corvettes are right up there with Lamborghinis, Batmobiles, and Ferraris as far as the cars that we have the most of. 69. There is a 69 Corvette, but it is not a 69 Corvette ZL-1. The 69 Corvette, we have a 69 Corvette and a 69 Corvette Racer, car number 93. Let's go ahead and take a look just to see if that car is, let's see, 93. So that is definitely, oh, okay, this one. Looking at these, are they different? It's hard to tell, but we're going to put this one in, the ZL-1, because you can never have too many Corvettes. It's a classic, and I like to see the cars that are modeled after real cars hit the track, see what they can do. Crack this one open, and this one weighs in at 35.5 grams, so still right there in the sweet spot, which is between 32 and 36 grams. However, as the RD09 has proved, you don't have to be in that range to be successful on the track. So let's go ahead and take a look at this Corvette. And I'll go ahead and grab my still picture first, and then we will see what this car can do when it hits the track. It's a Corvette, so that already pretty much lets us know that it has the aerodynamic profile to be competitive, because we've seen Corvettes race on the track often. And back in like the spring, early summer, we had Caitlin, I think, was routinely kind of picking Corvettes, and they were, even if they didn't win the tournament, they were always pretty competitive. And I think that most of them, even though as you get into like different eras, the designs are a bit different, but this kind of old school Stingray-ish design these cars tend to do pretty well on the track. At least they're always usually competitive. So we'll see if that works out against some of the faster fantasy cars. But so far we're sticking to all real cars. I'm looking at what we have, what I've pulled. I didn't do it on purpose, but I think we may have a setup where it's all today, maybe all real cars. So we've got car number 980, the 69 Corvette ZL-1 is in the house, in the fleet. Classic Corvette, that flat back end. Perfect. It's going to press right up against the launching block, and that is going to guarantee it's going to get a good push. Now, the thing with the Corvettes, it is a narrow car, and narrow cars, there's always the possibility that it starts bouncing around the track, and if that happens, then all bets are off, and it's not going to work out particularly well for this car. But we'll see what happens. This light is always right. I guess I could move it back to get it out of the shot. But yeah, that paint job. Yeah, it's got that nice metal flake in there. And I don't know, looking at the packaging, this is just a regular mainline car. It does have a little information on the back. Born in 1969 in Detroit, Michigan, USA. Designer General Motors, with classic Corvette styling, lighter body, and beefy all-aluminum engine block. The elusive ZL-1 raced its way into the history and mystery books. Okay. The mystery books. Is this some kind of car that they only made a few of that disappeared? I don't know what that means, but I guess I would have to look up and see what the story is behind the 69 Corvette ZL-1. Sounds interesting. I'll have to check that out. No special information on the back. Yeah, I don't know. Oh well. All right, we've got this car into the fleet. We've got the Corvette. We have the Renault, and we're about to go smaller and see. Let me double check. I'm going to hold this car up. You're not going to be able to see it because of the green screen. It is a lime green. It'll just be a mystery. It is this. It is the 73 Honda Civic Custom. Let me check and see if we already have one. There is a 73 BMW 3.0 CSL race car, a 73 Ford Falcon, And we do have a 73 Honda Civic Custom, car number 548. Let's see. There's only 2 ZL1s. Huh. That's interesting. Like they only made 2, or there's only 2 around? Why would they only make 2? That's interesting. There's always, well, they said the history and the mystery books. Maybe that's part of the mystery. Since we already have one of these, which is car number 548, then I will get rid of that. There's 2017 Chevy Camaro ZL-1 from the NASCAR Cup Series that Hot Wheel made. Okay, it's kind of interesting. I'm curious why would they only make 2? But then they said it raced its way into the history books. What did it say? The elusive ZL-1 raced its way into history and mystery books. So I don't know. Maybe they just built 2 for some specific race and never again. I don't know. Interesting. All right, let's see what the one that we have in the fleet looks like. Number 548. I think it might be red. That's my guess. It is a red one. 548. Oh no, it's this exact same one. It is the exact same lime green, X's on the headlights, same exact car. So it is in there. We will not have a duplicate. That becomes a prize car, and we will see what we can do next. This one, so okay, I may have been wrong, because I said we're only going to have actual cars today. Looking at the lineup, this one is from an actual car company, but it is not a production car. It is the Polestar TRX. And this was the result of a design competition that Polestar had, and people could submit ideas for a Polestar car, and if you won the competition, become a Hot Wheels car. This one was designed by Polestar TRX, born in 2024 in Gothenburg, Sweden. The designer was the winner of the Polestar Design Contest, Shashank Shekhar. Born from a dream, this rugged off-roader blasts through the mud with unstoppable speed, transforming from a concept to the polished champion of the 2024 Polestar Design Contest. And there you go. So the only question with this, because it's a truck, is whether or not it will fit on the track. It may, in the launcher, it may be too wide. And when I was in the store and I just kind of looked up and glanced, I thought it was a Cybertruck at first. But then I saw, no, it's this Polestar TRX. So let's see. Roughshod says, the 1969 Corvette ZL-1 is an ultra-rare, legendary performance machine, one of only 2 factory-produced, considered a holy grail for collectors. Well, that lines up with what was on the card. The history, raced its way into history and mystery books. It's strange that they would go to the trouble. Unless it was for a car show, but in that case they would say it was a concept car. And that would not be the case. So, interesting. Definitely interesting. So that one's definitely going to stay. The Corvette, the 69 Corvette ZL-1, very unique. So, can't find one in real life. I wonder how much, if they've got to be around, one's got to be in a museum and one has to be held by a collector or something. I wonder, I don't know. Let's see. And hey, Never Ending, how you doing? No problem, no problem. Yeah, I know you work schedules. What can you do? It is what it is. But glad to see you. And let's see, you're going with car number 310. Okay. Let's see what that is. Car number 310. No problem. Yeah, we will see. We'll see how it goes. And you pulled out some unique cars for the wins in the past, and we'll see if this week is something similar. Let's go back here and see what car number 310 is real quick. 310, 310, 310. Never Ending is going with the Hypertruck. Okay, so we've got a little truck situation. If this Polestar TRX, if this truck can stay on, then we're gonna have Virgo's Pikes Peak Tacoma, and we will have the Hypertruck from Never Ending. So we are gonna have an interesting race regardless. Never Ending has a knack for picking these outlandish fantasy cars that come through in the clutch. Take a look at this Polestar TRX. I'm going to crack this open, and then I am going to grab the I'm going to go grab the other track or the other launcher and see if this thing fits on. I hope it does, but these wide tires kind of make me think it probably won't. Weighs in at 40.4 grams. And we can go ahead and take a look at this thing. Put this Corvette there. Drop the Polestar here. And let's check it out. Definitely had it's pretty wild, but like I said, I glanced at it in the store and I'm thinking it was a Cybertruck, which somewhere in the storage I do have a Cybertruck, and I think that it's probably too wide to go into the launcher, but there's a possibility that it's not. I'm gonna shoot this video. Let me go grab the other launcher. Alright, got this other launcher. This Polestar comes around, and this thing is definitely unique. I think because of the wheels, those off-road tires, I wouldn't expect it to be very fast on the track, and especially so with the Hypertruck and with that Pikes Peak Tacoma, those both have regular Hot Wheels racing wheels. This one has these off-road tires that are not going to I don't know that I think we're still waiting. We haven't had a car with these off-road tires win, definitely not win the tournament, but I don't even know that we've had one that's done well to win a race. But let me go ahead and get this picture, and then we will check to see. Although I should probably do this in reverse. It would probably make more sense to check first to see if this actually fits on the track or in the launcher. before I go through the process of taking the picture. But I'm going to have some faith. And we'll see if that faith gets rewarded. Let's see if this thing can fit into the launcher. We have the Polestar, and it does not. The wheels, those wheels are just too wide. It won't fit in there. So no Polestar will be racing. So this will just be a cool car that just sits somewhere off to the side, waiting for the opportunity for me to eventually pull out what is it, that 6-lane gravity raceway. I have one in storage, but I just don't have space to set it up. But yeah, this is a cool looking car. Little concept thing. Got the surfboards in there. So yeah, it will not be able to race, unfortunately. So now we're gonna need, I'm really gonna have to start digging, because 2 cars have already been eliminated. We couldn't use the 73 Honda because that was already in the fleet. And now the Polestar is too wide to fit into the launcher. So I only pulled out, I mean, I've got plenty of cars I can go and grab. But let's see what we've got. This one might also be a duplicate. The Ford Shelby GT350R. We have lots of Shelbys, Mustangs, a few Cobras in there. Let's see if we've got this one, the Ford Shelby. Ford GT, Mustangs, Ford. It looks like we are good to go. There's probably one, I know there's a Shelby, at least a Cobra and something else, but those are probably cars that have a year associated with them. So hey, good for this car. We're going with the Ford Shelby GT350R. So let me crack this open and we will take a look at this. Another muscle car, weighing in at 34.6 grams. This is a good looking car, and we are gonna see if this car can I can't race the Polestar truck because the wheels are too wide, and so it won't fit into the launcher. And so the thing that I could do is I could redesign the launcher to make it wider. But the problem then is that if I make it wider so that it can accommodate some of the trucks, now we have the problem that the cars are more likely to start bouncing around, because the reason why I made the channels the width that they are is because they fit the majority of Hot Wheels cars. And what I want to do is, the cars are coming out with so much force, it's important to try and keep them straight as best as I can. So this channel helps prevent the cars from going off to the side. If I make it wider, now there's just more room for the cars to bounce around when they get shot out. But it's something that I'll probably need to consider if I want to race trucks. So I might do that. I wish I'd had this idea sooner, because the company that I use to do the 3D printing for the launchers had a Black Friday sale, and all the printing was 40% off. So when I saw that, I just ordered another launcher, just as to have an additional backup. But I didn't have time to make any adjustments. And let's see, this one I need to throw in that other background so that we can see all the details on this car. Yeah, the off-road, I've mentioned this before, that I have a whole box full of trucks, off-road trucks, just different types of trucks that are most likely too wide to fit into the launcher. And so, there's nothing, like, they're just sitting there. So I think if I would have to go back and design a launcher that would work with those cars and those trucks in order to really be able to do anything with them, because like you saw, they just don't fit into the launcher. And it's something I've just got to work out how to do it, and once I figure that out, then I can go ahead and design it, and we can maybe get into the track. I'm thinking one idea that I had is to basically, I mean, it's such a custom thing that I don't know, is to take these walls that are on the side that keep the cars in place, and actually separate these, make these sort of removable, and then kind of put slots maybe with magnets or something, so that I can move it out, so that if we have a race with a truck, I can take this guardrail and move it over just enough that it will give the cars or the trucks a little bit more clearance. But it's a little more, like, I taught myself how to use the 3D design software just so I could make that launcher. So I'm not an expert, and I could probably find someone who is and pay them to actually modify the design a bit, and that would probably get the result that I want. But it's just an idea. And GT 350R, and this is, let me check the year this was manufactured. Well, first of all, I didn't really talk about this car much. So, I mean, we have Mustangs and Cobras and all of those in the fleet. They did a good job with the design, the detail. We don't always get the tail lights painted, the logos and badges on there. Nice paint. I like the wheels. I like that stripe going up over the hood. And I think that there's nothing wrong with this car. I think this is going to be just fine. And sometimes fine is okay. But I think this is just going to be a car that's not going to be particularly impressive on the track, but I don't think it's going to be a bad performer. I think it'll be decent. So we'll see how that all works out. And we now have that Shelby in the mix, and we're gonna see what other cars we can throw in. But me show a little closer. So yeah, so what I was saying was, and this is the older version, but basically taking these edges here and making them removable, and then kind of putting in maybe slots for magnets or something so that I can take this out and move it over just a little bit, and then that would give the space that the trucks would need. And so I'd have to do that on both sides. Make this one removable, make this one removable. But like I said, that requires a little bit more design and engineering to make it work. And getting these printed is not cheap. So every time I make an adjustment and have to get it printed over again to see if it's going to work, it's just a lot more money out the door. So it's something I'm thinking about, though. All right, let's see what we've got down here. Got a couple of cars. Sticking with this real car theme, I have this Fast and Furious Chevy El Camino, and if we don't already have one of these, then this will be sort of the third El Camino, part car, part truck. This will be a third truck, taking the place of that Polestar. Let me just check to see. I know we have El Caminos, but I think those will all have years associated with those. Chevy El Camino. We have a Chevy Nomad, Chevy Silverado. Yeah, the El Caminos that we have definitely have year. Like we have a 68 El Camino, which is car number 864. And I believe there's another one, but since this one is just the Fast and Furious Chevy El Camino, we are going to crack this open and add it to the fleet. And now we will have the Hypertruck, the Pikes Peak Tacoma, and this El Camino. So let's see. This is coming in at 41.3 grams, so it is a heavier car. It is a metal body on a plastic base. Go ahead and get this in there. And take a look at this one. Get it in focus, that might help. There we go. This El Camino. And all black. It's got the El Camino, the name, little logo badge right there in the back. And yeah, I like this. All kind of a matte black. Even though they just did the bare minimum with the grill, at least it is silver. There's a little bit of at least there's some color there. And back end is flat. Looks like they colored the tail lights a bit. And let me check this Shelby to see if they have the year on here, 2015. Let me get this one into the fleet. This is car number 970. Oh, I'm sorry, 982. We are getting closer to the 1,000th car, and I think that the 1,000th car is probably going to be, I've got to go back and check to find one that I don't have, but I'm thinking it's going to be one of the ID cars. And I know the other day, Christopher, you were saying that I think you said you have 22 ID cars, which is that's impressive. I definitely don't have that many. I have quite a few, but I'm going to go in and check and find one that I don't have, because I want the 1,000th car to be special in some way. and they're just, when we're talking about the mainline cars, unless I can find, I might find, who knows, I'm going to go to the Hot Wheels swap meet, and I might find an old school car. The problem is, with those old school cars, it would be special, but it would be very heavy, and those heavy cars don't really have a shot on the track. So I kind of want I would like the 1000th car to at least have a shot to win. You know, that would be cool. And we've got our still picture of the El Camino. And we are getting pretty close to filling out our bracket. The McLaren W1. Is it a mainline car, or is it one of the ones with the rubber wheels? Because the rubber wheels, we can't really do anything with those. Let's see. I'm just checking. We have a McLaren P1, a McLaren Senna, a McLaren Solus, 720S, and a 720S Spider, and an F1 GTR. Okay, cool. Mainline car. So I will check that out, and that may end up being the car. We'll see. All right. Let's go one more. Let's see. Because we have the Renault, the Corvette, the Mustang, the El Camino. Actually, we need at least one or two more. Let's see if this one, if we already have one of these in. You're not gonna see much of this because it's got green on it, but it's the BMW M3 wagon, and this may be the car next entered in. The BMW M3 wagon is car number 789, so we already have one. This one is out. Prize car. There's no way that this next one, this is just going to be, I'm putting it in because of the cars that I have around me, this is one of them. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from this one, but we've got this one. The Hot Wheels armored truck. We have an armored truck that is going to be in the fleet. It is the blockiest of the blocky cars, and there's nothing about this that suggests it's going to be fast. The question is, will it even make it down the track and cross the finish line? I don't know. We're going to find out, because this Hot Wheels armored truck is going in. Let's crack this open. Now, here's one thing. It looks heavy, but this is all plastic. It is not a metal body on a plastic base. It's a plastic base on a metal body. So this may not weigh as much as the El Camino. And I'm correct. This only weighs 34.8 grams. So I may have misjudged this thing and not given it a shot. It's only 34.8 grams. That El Camino is 41.2 grams. So this may have a shot. Even with its awful aerodynamic profile. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. It is the Hot Wheels armored car, the SWAT car, and since it is this dark blue against the dark blue background, let me drop this in just to provide a little contrast, and go ahead and get this still picture. And we have this Hot Wheels SWAT vehicle. And go ahead and get this video. I mean, now when we talk about having surface area pressed up against the back of the car, this one checks that box definitely. The question is, are the bad aerodynamics going to do it in? And you talk when we put the cars in the wind tunnel, we look at all the air that builds up right at the front of the cars. And it builds up at the front and then has to go somewhere, over, under, and around. And this one's going to hit that grill. The air is going to build up. Then it comes up over the air that comes up over the hood. Then it's going to run into that windshield, which is pretty much at a 90-degree angle. And then it's going to hit that. Then it's going to go up and have to flow back across that roof line. So this thing doesn't weigh a lot. But I have a feeling that the poor aerodynamic profile is just going to result in this car is going to slow down towards the back end. And that is going to be what we get from the Hot Wheels armored truck. Oh, check this out. I just looked at the package. This is a treasure hunt car. Congratulations. This symbol means you just found a collectible treasure hunt car. Huh. I guess I didn't even recognize the little treasure hunt symbol right here on the door. It's kind of cool. Because these are not, let's see. These are not typically the kind of cars that, like, I'm not out there looking for the treasure hunt cars. And usually most of the stores I go to, the collectors have already picked them up beforehand, but this is probably not the kind of treasure hunt car that the collectors are really going for. They're looking for those super treasure hunt cars with which I've never found one. I've seen some at the Hot Wheels swap meet, things like that, but I've never actually seen one in the store. I have a few just of the regular treasure hunt cars like this one that I've come across and that are in the fleet, but never seen one of the super treasure hunt cars. But all right, so let's see. We've got this armored truck. We've got the Mustang. We've got the Corvette. We've got the Renault, and we've got the El Camino. That's 5. We may end up having a 6th. You have a super treasure hunt. Did you found it in the store? You bought it online? You just came across it? Because I don't even know. It's almost like you have to be there at just the right time before at a store where the employees aren't taking them out, and just, I don't know. It seems more like some combination of luck and actual kind of dedication, and I don't know if I have enough of either one of those to find one. Okay, so Roughshod found it in the store. Nice. Let's see. Oh, no wonder this thing got dark, because this light needs to be plugged in. I was wondering why I wasn't getting the right kind of shine on the armored truck, and it was because one of the lights went out. There we go. All right, so we've got these 5. There is one more. There's a Matchbox Porsche that I am going to grab, that we are going to put in. But what I'll do is I'll go and grab the other cars. So we have the Hypertruck, the Pikes Peak Tacoma. I need to grab those 2. And then Roughshod and Christopher's picks. I already have those here lined up. So I'm going to go grab those other cars. And then we will... Oh, you found 2 super treasure hunts. Okay. You found just in the store? where you just like happen to come across them. That's kind of cool. I don't. Yeah, I've never seen one in like years of going to the stores. I've just never seen one. I guess I'm either too late or maybe I'm not looking thoroughly enough. But I have a feeling that, especially around here, there's just people who are focused in on looking at getting those cars, and you can always tell when when you get to the store and the pros. The pro collectors have already been there, especially those bins where it's got little compartments, because there's a certain way that you can tell that the cars have been gone through, where they're laying a certain way and they're kind of all in order, but you can still tell that someone went through and kind of moved them out. So that's usually what I show up to. But since I'm looking for mainline cars all the time, it's fine by me, because they kind of leave the cars that, especially fantasy cars, aren't as popular with a lot of the collectors. So, again, it's perfect for me. Leaves things for me to find. So, you found the Glory Chaser and the Mazda 787B. Oh, that 787B is a nice car. I like that one. All right. Well, I'm going to go and pull these cars. So I will be back in a couple of minutes, and we will look at those cars, and then we'll be one step closer to hitting the track. I will be back. It won't take 5 minutes, but I'll be back. Okay. This is what I was talking about earlier. At that store that I go to, they have the Matchbox cars in the box, and so this one is the Volkswagen Beetle 4x4, and then versus, and so this is the same car, but one is obviously in sort of a traditional package, and this one's in the box. And I don't like it in the box because this is the view they give you on with the artwork. And I mean, you get an idea of it, but you can't really see. Like, I can't tell. I would have no idea that the back end looks like this. And I think I definitely prefer this. These are harder to kind of look through on the rack. And it's just not I don't like it. But it's just kind of interesting, and just shows, I don't know what the kind of thinking is maybe this is easier to pack, but the problem is these come in these boxes, so they're all kind of stacked up, and if you want to see what other cars are in the box, you have to take all of them out, then look through, and then some people put them back in place, and some people just leave them kind of scattered around. So I don't even know that it's all that helpful in a store situation. But anyway, same truck, same VW Beetle, but one you're getting a decent view of what you're getting. The other one, who knows? So that's just something to, just a little side note. The other car that I'm going to introduce, because I'm always curious how these really small cars will do. You might not be able to see it because it is green, but it is this one. It is the 2024 Fiat Topolino, and it looks like some kind of electric, I don't know if it's like a golf cart. The picture here, right here, it's got like a little velvet rope situation, and I don't know what's going on, what this is for, but it's a Matchbox car, so it's absolutely a real vehicle. But I'm gonna crack this open, we're gonna throw it into the fleet, and then we are gonna get into the viewer pick cars that are going to be racing today. But we're gonna take a look at this Ford 2024 the Fiat Topolino. Yeah, I know the Super Treasure Hunts have the real riders, so that's part of the reason why I'm not really interested in those. But it would still be cool to find. Like if I found one, I would definitely buy it. That would just be a cool thing to come across, but I just never do. All right, this Ford Topolino is coming in at 25.6 grams. It is a tiny little car, and I think it's kind of cool. Let's see. Let's check it out. The Topolino coming in. I don't know what to expect from this car, really. I hope it can stay on the track. That's always my concern with these really tiny cars. Can they stay on the track? And this one, with the weight, it's already going to be at a disadvantage. Like, let's say it stays on the track. It is probably going to slow down toward the back end of the track because of drag. And that is just the reality for these smaller cars, that drag is working against them. It's working against all the cars. But if a car is lighter, it is going to be impacted by drag noticeably, and usually we see that towards the back end of the track. The car just appears to slow down. And this one, I would guess, if it can stay on the track, by about the halfway point, it'll start to look like it's slowing down, and the other car will pass it by, and that will be that. But in the meantime, it doesn't have a completely flat back. This is the front end that's coming around here. The back end is a little rounded, almost like a Beetle, just a little bit. And it's a little tall. It's not a little tall, it's tall. So it is going to need to use the taller acrylic cover. And we're going to find out whether or not it is able to, number one, stay on the track. Staying on the track is the number one thing, obviously. And then after that, will it slow down as predicted, or will it surprise us and actually complete the race and be a sleeper car? I don't know. But we are all going to find out together, because the 2024 Fiat Topolino is in the fleet. It is car number 984. Now, we are going to get into the cars that the viewer picked cars, which is where we found a couple of champions. So let's start with Virgo's Pikes Peak Tacoma. It is weighing in at 36.7 grams, which is just fine. Drop this in here and take a look. It is let's see, let's get it in focus. So I think with this one, that big splitter in the front, I don't know that that's going to create too much of an issue. It seems to be, well, what's going to happen is that air is going to stack up here, and then it's got this curved front. Now, what we've seen in the wind tunnel is sometimes that air will hit these curved fronts and flow up to the windshield. Other times it kind of arcs up, and the air's not really flowing along the body of the car. But with this one, let's say it does flow up over the hood, to the windshield, to the roof line, then we know at this point that air is going to break off because it's not going to drop down and then follow the bed. It's just going to break off here. And how that will impact this car's performance overall, I don't know, because this wing in the back, it doesn't have an opening below. So usually the wings kind of have this flat top, and then the air can flow below. And usually, not usually, the wings are designed on the real cars to produce downforce to keep the wheels on the ground. But I don't know that that's going to make a difference here. But then the air that flows over the top, how much air is going to kind of be trapped by the design of this wing and maybe work to slow this thing down? It's hard to tell, but we are going to find out when we get to the track. So we've got this one, and let me double check, make sure this Pikes Peak Tacoma fits. It absolutely does. So it is going to be racing. And what else do we have? We have Never Ending's Hypertruck. This one feels extremely light. It is a fantasy car. It is a plastic body on a metal base. Weighs in at 32 grams, despite the size. And it is... It's very light. It's got the larger wheels in the back, smaller wheels, more standard wheels in the front. And same thing, it's got a pretty big frontal area. It does go back just a little bit, so air can go into this area and this area. And then there's no outlet, so it's going to kind of be trapped right in there. But the air that flows up over the top, you see with this not being a real car, how the angle is so much wider between when you get to the transition from the hood to the windshield versus the more traditional cars or real cars. And once it comes up over the top, that air is going to hit here, and then it's going to break away. Now, what happens is any of the air going to get trapped in this area, or not necessarily trapped, but is the air going to flow down into this part of the bed, and is that going to work to slow this thing down? I don't know. This one, I think, will probably do pretty well and probably maintain a lot of its speed. I think the weight is, it's light, but it's not too light. And this will be an interesting design, but this air is definitely going to break off. That high pressure at the front, once it breaks off, we're going to have low pressure, so there's going to be this pressure drag that's going to be working against the car's forward momentum, but we'll see how much that impacts its performance on the track. So we've got Never Ending's Hypertruck. We've got Virgo's Pikes Peak Tacoma. And then we've got Christopher. He has selected this Back to the Future time machine, the modified DeLorean from the movie. And this weighs in at 37.4 grams, so not as heavy as the RD09, but just a little outside of what's traditionally been the sweet spot. This is, because it is a premium car, it's an ID car, and so it has the, get this in focus, it's got the out of time license plate right there. It's got the DeLorean badge. It's got the little colors where they've painted all the various lights on the back. It's got the little flux capacitor inside. So this one, much like the real DeLorean, is metal, and this is a metal body on a plastic base. It's got the ID card chip right there that was designed to work with the AtTheTrack accessories. The wheels, nice. Have, is that Goodyear? I can't tell, but it's got the wheel, like the premium wheels. Everything about this is just top level. It's like, that's why I like the ID cars so much. Now the question is, back end, these two engines here are going to be pressed against, or at least the bottom parts are going to be pressed against the launcher right there down low, and we will see. The weight may factor in and kind of do this car in, because if it is going up against something, if it ends up going against something like the Hypertruck, that weight difference is going to matter. And then you start talking about the aerodynamic profiles and how drag is going to impact the car as it moves down the track. We're going to see, but this DeLorean, Back to the Future time machine, we'll see what it does. We'll see what it does. All right, and then last but not least is the CCM, the Country Club Muscle car that was picked by Roughshod. It weighs in at 38.3 grams. So this is actually heavier than I was thinking. Let me double check. Yep, 38.3. It is heavier than I was thinking it would be. And it is a long car. So kind of like the Hypertruck, it's very long, but it's definitely got more metal than the Hypertruck because it weighs more. That red part, all the red and black, that's plastic, and then the silver on the bottom on the bumpers is metal. And this car is interesting because it is narrow. It looks to be, as it comes around, you'll be able to see, it looks a little wider at the back, but for the most part, it's narrow. Like with most cars, what kind of launch can it get? That's always where I start. Is it likely to get a good solid launch, or is it going to be pushed off to one side or the other? We're going to find out. The back end is flat, and it is, it should do well, I think. That weight is interesting, 38 grams. I wasn't expecting that from this car. It doesn't feel like a heavier car. And 38 grams isn't extreme because the RD09 is at 38 grams. But usually cars with this much plastic, I just wouldn't assume that they would be, this heavy. So, all right, we have our field all lined up. We have the Country Club muscle car. We have the Pikes Peak Tacoma, the Back to the Future time machine. We have the Hypertruck. We have the 2024 Fiat Topolino. We have the El Camino, the Hot Wheels armored truck. We have the Renault Sport RS1, and we have that Ford Shelby GT350R. So we are all set up to have a good, solid race day. And just in case this happens to be your first time watching an all about aerodynamics at the track live race, this is what you are about to see. You are going to see our 3-camera racetrack view. The cars are going to start at the top of the screen on the left in the launcher. I'm going to give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, race. Hit the switch. The cars are going to come firing out of the launcher. They're going to go from top to bottom, passing out of the bottom of the screen on the left, showing up at the top of the screen in the middle. The cars are going to come from top to bottom, pass out of the bottom of the screen in the middle, and show up at the top of the screen on the far right, our finish line camera. They are going to go from top to bottom, cross the finish line, and the winning car will be indicated with a solid red light. A solid red light indicates the winning car. A flashing red light indicates the losing car. So, that is what we have going on. And if a car crashes, then that car, if the car crashes and leaves the track, then we throw out the results of that race and restart everything and race the cars again. If a car crashes 2 times consecutively, then that car is eliminated, because a car crashing twice consecutively suggests there's some problem with the combination of the car and the launcher that isn't going to be resolved just by launching the car again. So, if a car crashes and leaves the track, could be trouble. If a car crashes and doesn't leave the track, well, then that car is just lost. The car needs to leave the track in order to qualify for the race to be restarted. Our races are best 2 out of 3, and the cars switch lanes after each race, and that is that. That's what we got. So, I'm going to grab these cars and head over to the track. We're going to get these races underway, and I will see you over there in 30 seconds. Okay, let me just double check the audio. 1, 2. Yep, good to go. Our track is all set up, and I think I'd mentioned the middle camera. I used just old iPhones as the webcams, and one went out about a month ago, and I took it to a place to have it checked out. And it cost me $50 to have the guy do a diagnosis, take it apart, and figure out what was going on. And unfortunately, the motherboard had burned out, so that car was dead. I mean, that camera was dead. And unfortunately, it cost me $50 to find out the thing was dead. Even though I knew it was dead, but it cost me $50 to find out it was so dead it couldn't be repaired and replaced. So, live and learn. Okay, here we go. We have a nice group of cars lined up and ready to go. Let's just jump in right now. We're going to go Hypertruck versus El Camino. And those two are just standing out to me because they have a similar design. It's almost like the Hypertruck is the fantasy car version of an El Camino. And we're going to see what's going on with these two. But I think that the problem for the El Camino is going to be, well, it's going to be interesting, the weight. So the El Camino weighs a lot. The Hypertruck does not. The Hypertruck, I think the weight of the Hypertruck being light, I think it's going to be impacted at the back end of the track. But the question is, will the Hypertruck have already established so big of a lead that the El Camino can't catch up? And I think that's what's going to happen. My prediction is the Hypertruck jumps out to a huge lead, and the El Camino will start closing the gap at the back end, but it won't be enough. There won't be enough track left for the El Camino to catch up. That is my expert opinion. All right, here we go. This is race number 1. We've got the Hypertruck in lane 1. We've got the El Camino in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. And I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, the Hypertruck did win, but that race was a lot closer than I would have expected it to be. The fact that the El Camino, grab this, that the El Camino weighs more, definitely is not didn't hurt it too much, but we will see what happens when we switch these lanes. Yeah, I mean, there's a slight difference with the middle camera, because I've watched these back and gone back to like edit some of the footage, but it's not significant. But I will be on the lookout. Like, the holidays is not really the time to try and find used iPhones, because people are, giving them as gifts and different things like that. So a lot of the resale sites don't really have much inventory, or if they do, the prices are a little higher. So at some point I will replace it, and then if at some point next year I buy a new phone, then I'll just use my current phone as one of the other webcams. Come on. Okay, the Hypertruck is now in lane 2, but it doesn't seem to want to stay in place against the launcher. And the El Camino is in lane 1. That was a good race. That was a good, solid, close race. Any race, the way I judge it is, any race that I have to look at the lights to see which car won, it's a good race. All right, so we've got the Hypertruck now in lane 2, the El Camino in lane 1. Race 2, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. The El Camino, it lost, but it probably could have taken that particular race. The problem was right around this area where the car stopped, the El Camino went up into the air, went up on 2 wheels. And much like the cars do somehow in the Fast and Furious series, they take off and pop wheelies. That wheelie seems like it probably cost it just enough speed and time that it lost the race. So the El Camino is out. The Hypertruck is in. We are going to go now. We're going to go, let's go with, I'm going to take this Back to the Future time machine against the Fiat Topolino. And the Topolino is going to require that we pull out our custom acrylic cover that allows for taller cars and standard cars to race. So we'll get these lined up, and we're going to find out if this Topolino can even make it down the track. It is very light. It is very narrow. This might be a wild, bumpy ride for this Topolino. And it might be a short trip. So we will find out. Let's get the Back to the Future time machine, the DeLorean, in there, and see if this thing can get up above 88 miles per hour. And here we go. So the DeLorean is in lane number 2, and the Fiat Topolino is in lane 1. Race number 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Oh, the Topolino pulls it out. Both of those cars were slowing down towards the back end. Slowing down for different reasons. The DeLorean slowing down because of the weight, and the Topolino slowing down due to drag. And the Topolino had enough left in the tank to pull that one out towards the end. We're going to switch lanes and see if the DeLorean can make a comeback. It just has to win 2 races in a row, which is not unusual. Not unusual at all. We've had lots of cars lose race 1, come back, take races 2 and 3, and move on. It is not unheard of. The Topolino is not fast. The Topolino just happened to be faster than the DeLorean in that particular race. All right, we are going to have race 2. The Topolino's in lane 2. The DeLorean's in lane 1. Race number 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, both those cars were moving faster. The Topolino moved faster, and took that race. So the Topolino will be moving on. The DeLorean will be going not only back to the future, it will be going back to the garage. And interesting thing is, there's another DeLorean. There's a DMC DeLorean, just a standard car that we have in the fleet that does not have all the extras of the movie car, and that one has raced in the past, and I don't remember how it did though. All right, let's see. We are going to go with, let's go Pikes Peak Tacoma against this armored truck SWAT thing, since we already have the taller cover up here. Let me just make sure it's tall enough to accommodate this truck, this SWAT truck. It is okay, just checking. All right, we're gonna have the SWAT truck in lane number 2, and we're gonna have the Pikes Peak Tacoma in lane 1. Now this SWAT truck is interesting because it's very big, poor aerodynamic profile, but it's very light for its size, very light. So it'll be I'm curious to see how it's going to perform. The Pikes Peak Tacoma, we already talked about that wing in the back and how is that going to impact its performance. We will see right now, because this is race number 1, Pikes Peak Tacoma in lane 1, Hot Wheels armored truck in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. I heard some noise at the end. I couldn't tell if that was the armored truck hitting if it hit the tripod or not. I heard there was definitely a noise. Let's see. Was it the armored truck? I don't see that it hit anything. Pikes Peak Tacoma didn't hit anything. Not sure what that was. But either way, Pikes Peak Tacoma took the race, and I don't know what that was. I definitely heard something. Not sure what, because it looks like both cars were able to clear the Yeah, there's no. Sometimes I have to double check the clearance for these taller cars around the tripods, but there was nothing happened, nothing ordinary. So Pikes Peak Tacoma took that race, and we will be checking now to see if this big armored truck can take 2 races in a row. It's going to need to start by taking this next race, and then we'll see from there. So the armored truck is in lane 1, and the Pikes Peak Tacoma is in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Look at the armored truck coming through. Okay, we are going to a 3rd and final race. The armored truck took that one. These races we've had some good races today. Pretty close. matchups. The armored truck, definitely a surprise, but I think that weight is the thing, because the weight is really good for the size, even though aerodynamically, not too good. Not too good at all. So let's flip this around and check out whether or not we have the Pikes Peak Tacoma is now, let me move it in, is in lane 1, and the SWAT Hot Wheels armored truck, our treasure hunt car, is in lane 2. This is race number 3, armored truck lane 2, Pikes Peak Tacoma, lane 1, race 3. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. The armored truck pulls off the heist and steals the race. So Roughshod was saying that the armored truck, that it hit that middle tripod. Well, then that's probably the only thing that prevented it from in that first race. That's probably the only thing that prevented it from taking 2 races in a row, because races 2 and 3, it had no trouble whatsoever. And that's that. The armored truck, I think that's so far, that's got to be the surprise of the day. Previously, the surprise was the Topolino. But now we've got 2 surprises, double surprise. The armored truck and the Topolino have moved on, along with the Hypertruck. And we are now, let's go ahead and take a look at, let's go Country Club Muscle versus this special 69 Corvette, this ZL-1, that we found out is extremely rare and extremely unique. But how extreme can that rarity, does any of that matter when we go to the track? We are going to put the Corvette in lane 1, the Country Club muscle car, which is heavier than expected, is in lane 2. So we've got Country Club muscle in lane 2, the Corvette, the ZL-1 in lane 1. Race number 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Country Club Muscle took it. Now, what's interesting is at the back end of that race, the Country Club Muscle car was slowing down, and the Corvette was closing the gap. But like what happens in a lot of cases, the cars ran out of track, and the Corvette couldn't make up that gap because there was no more track left. It crossed the finish line. And so it's fine in this race, but what happens when the Country Club muscle car, if it beats out the Corvette again, what happens when it faces cars that don't slow down, or at least don't slow down significantly? That could be a problem. But anyway, here's race 2. We've got the Country Club muscle in lane 1. We've got the Corvette ZL-1 in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, and this time the Country Club muscle car got blown away, but it makes me think that, like, there was some issue with the launch, and said that was a possibility. That was a possibility, given the car being kind of narrower at the front, but also the weight. And maybe in the first race, maybe the Corvette got a questionable launch. But either way, we're going to race number 3. And in race number 3, we are going to see if Country Club muscle car, which is now in lane 2, or the Corvette, which is now in lane number 1, is going to move on. So, Country Club muscle, lane 2, Corvette, lane 1, race 3, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ooh. That race was close, and exact the same thing happened. Like you could see in that last, just before they got to the last third of the track, the Country Club muscle car just started slowing down, and you could see it happen. It just started slowing down a little bit, and then a little bit more, and just enough that the Corvette was able to catch it and pass it and take the race. That was a good race, but I think it just goes to show that drag has an impact. And the question is between it's that combination of like the weight and drag. Like there's definitely a balance, and drag is going to be the most significant force acting against these cars, but the weight plays a role, but I think ultimately when we see cars just slowing down, it's usually either cars that are being impacted by drag and or heavier cars. Lighter cars, it's definitely drag, but we are going to see, because it didn't seem to be, it was hard to see with the Topolino, but we're going to find out later. In this next race, it's the Ford Shelby GT350R against the Renault Sport, which is in lane 2. So the Shelby's in lane 1, the Renault is in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. That Shelby got up and was out. The cars were pretty close for about half of the race, and then it was a wrap. The Shelby just continued at a higher rate of speed. That Renault started to slow down a bit, and it was over just like that. So now we are going to go to race 2. Cars are going to switch lanes, and we will see which car is going to move on to the next round. We've got our Renault Sport in lane 1. We've got our Shelby in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. 3, 2, Shelby moved a bit. 3, 2, 1, race. That Shelby was moving, and the Renault was kind of in the race, but exact same thing happened about halfway through. Renault starts losing some speed. The Shelby keeps going, and the Shelby takes it. And the Shelby, which is the car that I just basically claimed was kind of like, just a standard kind of car, as some would say, kind of a mid car. But turns out, Shelby was like, I am going to get down this track. I am going to put on a show and move on to the next round. So we have the armored truck, the Hypertruck, the Topolino, the ZL-1, and the Shelby. We are going to just jump in right now and go, let's go with the trucks. Let's go Hypertruck versus SWAT truck and see what happens. The Hypertruck is low, so I need to switch out with the other cover. We'll get the low cover and the tall cover. Get those in there. And this Hypertruck, it's very light, and that's the thing that I noticed every time I pick it up. It's just it's got that metal base, and everything else is plastic, 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 and that's what we've got. So let's go ahead, get these two lined up here. And the SWAT truck is in lane 2. The SWAT armored truck, Hot Wheels armored truck is in lane 2. And the Hypertruck is in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. That one was very close. Those cars got a slow launch. That was very close, but the Hypertruck took it. And I couldn't tell from my vantage point. They seemed pretty much kind of neck and neck for the most part. I didn't see really any one car having much of an advantage going down the track. But we are going to see if we can flip this around, see if these cars get a better launch, because that definitely was not their kind of fastest launch. And sometimes the launcher, it will kind of hang up a little bit, and so the cars are sometimes are clearly not getting the same level of force. But the thing is that even if the launcher kind of hangs up and doesn't push the cars out with as much force as it did previously, both cars are still getting the same amount of force applied to them because of the way the launcher is designed. So if the launcher gives more force, like a really good strong launch, then both cars get a really good strong push. If the launcher gives a kind of medium push, then both cars get a medium push. So neither car gets an advantage just because the launcher maybe hangs up and doesn't give them the same solid push. So here we go. This is race number 2. This is the SWAT armored truck is in lane 1. The Hypertruck is in lane 2. Race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Okay, both cars got a solid quick launch and they moved faster, and we saw the exact same thing. So in the previous race where they got kind of a softer push out of the launcher, it was a close race, but the Hypertruck won. This race, they got a good, solid, hard push, and it was a close race, and the Hypertruck won. So the results are consistent, and because the same amount of force is being applied to each car, regardless of whether that's a lot of force or just a minimal amount. So we are done with the armored truck. That is out. And let's see. We are now down to the Hypertruck, the Shelby, the Topolino, and the Corvette. So let's go. Let's go ahead and knock it out. Let's go Corvette and Shelby. This seems like a classic American muscle car matchup. Ford Shelby GT350R coming in against the Corvette ZL-1, of which for some reason there were only 2 made. I'm gonna have to look into that later on, because seems like an interesting story. Somebody has to have done a YouTube little documentary or video about it. So we have the Corvette in lane 2, the Shelby in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. The Shelby hangs on and takes the race. So the race goes to Ford, and we will see if the Corvette can come back and force a third and final race. We are about to find out. Switch these around. We will put the Ford in lane 2. Lock this up. Shelby had a really good performance, and like I said, I made a prediction that this car would be have an average kind of standard performance, but so far it has been a pretty solid competitor on our track. And we have the Corvette, the ZL-1 in lane 1, and the Shelby in lane 2, race 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Shelby takes it. The Shelby moves on. The Shelby so far is undefeated today. It's had, these races with the Corvette have been close-ish, but the Shelby may have what it takes to take today's tournament. It has to face now. It will face the winner of the matchup between the Topolino and the Hypertruck, and we'll see which of these come out on top. The Topolino won earlier, beating out the DeLorean, but the thing is, the DeLorean was heavy. The Topolino is extremely light and very unique, and I'm going to have to switch over to the mixed cover here in a second. All right, let's see. Take this one off, grab this one, and we need the Topolino with the taller cover. All right, there we go. Topolino in lane 2, Hypertruck in lane 1, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Topolino had a lead, and then it just started slowing down. And that Hypertruck, one of these cars, I presume it was the Topolino because it's a Matchbox car, and the way the Matchbox wheels are, they make this little whizzing sound. And I heard that sound, but then I looked up, and it was the Hypertruck that was just catching the Topolino, passing it by, and taking the race. So ultimately, we'll see if the results are the same in this next race, but the Topolino having bad aerodynamics, a bad aerodynamic profile against a fast car never works out. Never works out for the car with the bad aerodynamics. You just can't have, you have to minimize the impact of drag. And when you have a tall car like this Topolino and it's light, it's gonna be rough going. But we're gonna see what happens. We've got the Topolino now in lane 1. We've got the Hypertruck in lane 2. Race 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. The Hypertruck is like, can you get me some actual competition? This is not even relatively, almost kind of close. So the Topolino, that was cute. The Topolino had its moment, but now we're getting into the end. And the end means that it's going to be the Shelby versus the Hypertruck. And can the Hypertruck do what it just did? Or we will see if it's going to be fantasy or reality coming up today. Put the Topolino. Yeah, I'm definitely going to put the Topolino in the wind tunnel on Wednesday, and the and that SWAT truck. Even though with the SWAT truck, we kind of pretty much have an idea about what we'll be seeing, but that is the whole point of taking a little bit more scientific approach to racing these cars, is that we don't just assume. We actually conduct the experiments. We have our ideas based on what we've observed, and then we have hold the races and put the cars in the wind tunnel and sort of analyze what it is we saw and why we got the results that we got. So yeah, the Topolino will be in the wind tunnel on Wednesday, 4 p.m., as will the armored truck. and some other cars. So here we go. This is our finals matchup. We've got the Ford Shelby in lane 2. We have the Hypertruck in lane 1. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo-hoo. Those cars were moving, and that race was close. We had some good races today. But the Shelby, as you can see from the solid red light, the Shelby took it, and we will now be going into our final matchup, which is going to be the Shelby in lane 1 and the Hypertruck in lane 2. And we will see, can the Hypertruck come in and take 2 in a row? Never ending. Can he get another one? Can he take another title? We're going to see. Shelby in lane 1, Hypertruck lane 2, race 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Ho, 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 we're going to a third and final race. The Hypertruck takes it, and this is going to be it. Can Never Ending take another one? He hit it with the Dog Fighter. He got it with the Super Stinger, and both of those cars ended up being fastest in fleet cars. So we are going to see if he's got the magic touch one more time. We are going to switch lanes. The Shelby will be in lane 2. I can get it positioned correctly. And the Hypertruck is in lane 1. And we are ready to go. Hypertruck lane 1, Shelby lane 2, race 3. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Close, so close. But as you can see from the solid red light, Never Ending, his pick, the Hypertruck, takes the race. And that means that today's tournament champion is the Hypertruck. And now we're going to see if Never Ending can pick yet another fastest in fleet car, because the Hypertruck is going to go up against the RD09, which has been our champion for the past couple of weeks. And will it be able to withstand the Hypertruck? We're going to find out. We don't have enough of a sample size to really know specifically how the RD09 performs. We have some idea based on what we've seen, but nothing's a guarantee. So we're going to put the Hypertruck in lane 1, the RD09 in lane 2. Race 1, here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the RD09 took that race with ease. It seemed like it opened up a lead, and the Hypertruck seemed to be kind of closing it slowly, but just not nearly fast enough to make up for the difference. So we are going to switch lanes, and we are going to see right here if the Hypertruck can force a third and final race. Can it happen? Maybe. We'll see. But it's going to have to do a much better job than it just did. Hypertruck is lining up in lane number 2. And the RD09, our current fastest in fleet car, is lining up in lane 1. Race 2, here we go. Fastest in fleet title on the line. 3, 2, 1, race. And that's that. That race was not close. The Hypertruck got blown off the track by the RD09. I'm going to gather up these cars, head back into the garage, take a look at the winners, the losers, what we saw, and see what's coming up next. So I'll be back in the garage in just a minute. So we had some good races today. I think for the most part, it all comes down to matchups, and it it the RD09 didn't have much competition, and it won that second race by a lot. The other race it won by, it was convincing. So it's starting to kind of build up its reputation and its legacy, and we're starting to be able to see what exactly this car can do. And it's been impressive. It's going to need a few more weeks as champion to really start to build up that mystique that the Blitz Speeder had, and the Gazella R, and some of the former champions. But it's off to a good start. It hasn't really had much competition. The races have been pretty solidly in its favor. Today, I think the surprise of the day was this one. It was our treasure hunt Hot Wheels armored car SWAT vehicle, and it actually performed much better than I thought, especially given the poor aerodynamic profile that this thing had. But the weight, it was very light, much lighter than I would have thought, and it put up a good performance. And it is one of those, just another example of why you can't just look at a car and presume that you know the outcome. Cars actually have to hit the track. We have to see what they can do, and sometimes we're surprised. Other times we get the examples or the results that we kind of thought. But nevertheless, you have to conduct the experiment. You have to race the cars. So that's what we do here. Let's see. Christopher, he has a couple of picks in mind. 286, which is the two Jets, and the Ferrari, the Enzo Ferrari, number 197. I still haven't seen any of the new Ferraris in the stores yet, but maybe soon. Maybe I'll right place, right time. I'm sure I'll come across one, because it's not like they're going to stop making those. So we have that, and then let's see, Roughshod has his picks for Wednesday, which are car number 373 and 446. Let me see what those are. Let's check out 197. 197 is the two Jets, and I believe that's red. 190. Well, okay, wait, I got that right. 197 is this Enzo Ferrari. So there's the Enzo Ferrari, and nice looking car, and we will throw that in the wind tunnel on Wednesday. It's kind of weird with the way they did the flames, but okay, sure. Then car number 286, the two Jets, is, oh, it's gray, this one. The two Jets, it's a little kind of rocket, almost like a little rocket car, compact size, and open wheels. So that's always one where we gotta kind of hold our breath when those cars hit the track. But interesting pick. Looks like it should be able to catch some speed, pick up some wins on the track, I would think, in looking at it. And then, let's see, Roughshod is considering 373, which is 373, the Circle Trucker. We've had the Circle Tracker, but he's looking at the Circle Trucker, which has a similar kind of setup to the Draftnator. So we might that should be pretty interesting. This is a lot like the Draftnator, I think. And then he is thinking about car 446, and 446 is this one, the AMC Javelin, and this one has not raced. I think the only time this may have raced was in the little intro that I made for AtTheTrack.live. I think I used this car as one of I did some test runs to get some footage to use in the intro, and I think that may have been the only time this car has been in the track. I don't know that it's been picked. So solid muscle car right there. I can't tell how narrow. It looks like it might be a little narrow at the front, similar to this Country Club Muscle, like a little wider at the back, kind of flared out, a little narrow at the front. But we've got the AMC Javelin AMX, and we've already got 4 cars that 2 each that Christopher and Roughshod will be making a choice about on Wednesday, every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, on Instagram, on Twitch, and YouTube. We are putting cars in the wind tunnel, and you can go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose your car option, and do exactly what Christopher and Roughshod did, and just find cars that you want to put in the wind tunnel. You get an idea about their aerodynamic profile, and then you can make your decision on which cars you want to see hit the track on Saturday. And we are here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, racing Hot Wheels cars, talking about Hot Wheels cars. That's just how it goes. If you want more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics, just go to our website, aaAerodynamics.com, or follow us on Instagram at aaAerodynamics, and all the information you need is there. It's pretty much what we do here, just a little more scientific analysis and experiments, and believe me, your students will love it. So, but all about aerodynamics, At the Track Live, Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. Those are all the programs we have right now. But we'll be back here next Saturday racing cars. So for At the Track Live, for all about aerodynamics, for Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, I'm Coach James. I appreciate you watching. And until next time, I will see you at the races.